Good morning. Oh, my sound's not working again. Here we go. There we go. Oh. Why doesn't it want to work? Ugh. I need to find a way to stop my Stream Deck sliding off my desk. Good morning. How are we this morning? Let me get my chat up. Pop out. There we go. That's what I need. It's very annoying that I have to wait until the stream starts to open chat as a pop out on the other monitor. But it's just these things are sent to annoy us, and they do. So, morning. Welcome to RhomanysRealm. I'm Romany, and I do planning and journaling and art and sketchbooking and that kind of stuff. Just a bit of everything, really. We're having some weird hair this morning. Morning, Ink. Today, what was I going to say? Oh, the brain is not working this morning. The neurodivergence is real. Oh, God. Oh, come on, brain. Think of things. You're so smart. Okay. On Saturday, for Patreon, I started a painting, which I'm going to finish on Patreon. But there's 2 parts to the painting. Well, 3 parts to the painting, really. And I could do with a little bit of practice in between finishing the painting on Patreon and starting it. Because, okay. Sitting in a queue for a car wash. That sounds fun. I loved car washes when I was a kid. Absolutely loved car washes as a kid. Oh, come on, brain. Anyway. Oh. Coffee hasn't kicked in yet, I don't think. Last year, February the 1st, I started the 100-day project. And I started off using gouache for about 2 or 3 days. And then I was really good with gouache at the time. And I thought, you know what, I could do with practicing something else. So I switched to alcohol markers, and I got really good with alcohol markers because I spent most of last year working with alcohol markers. And now I'm back to gouache and I'm struggling a little bit. So extra practice needed. It's like you're riding a bike. If it comes back, it's just muscle memory and things like that. But I'm a bit rusty. Add to that I have a set of Himi gouache, which I've only ever played with a couple of times. Because just after I got it, I switched to alcohol markers for this project. The squirrels are rampant. The squirrels aren't even productive today. Usually the squirrels are running around with post-it notes and at least doing something. Today they just got the zoomies. I'm pretty sure half of them are still drunk from last night. I think they were at a rave. Some of them may not have come home. I'm not sure. Anyway. It's when your sleep schedule gets messed up. That's what I find. My sleep schedule is a bit messed up at the moment. So, yeah. The squirrels are squirreling. But not in their usual squirrely way. They're being a bit weird. Yeah, so, new material to me. Jelly gouache is a very different animal to regular gouache, and I normally use acrylic gouache, so there's that. Haven't used it in a year, very out of practice, but, you know, get back on the horse and start playing. That's the only way you're going to get better. So we're at the point where everything's a bit of a mess. Which is why I decided I needed extra practice, which is why we're doing this today. So, let me swizzle you around. If I can remember how to work the cameras. There we go. How are the bruises? They're getting better. They're getting a lot better. This is almost entirely gone. This is just starting to yellow now. But this was blood red. This was like the colour of this. So, all around here. So, it's a week on. So, it's just this bit. Which reminds me, I haven't put any arnica on it this morning. The eyebrows, I'm still yellow here. And it's still quite swollen where the actual injury is. Although the injury is healed. All the scabs and everything fell off yesterday. But I've still got a big lump underneath it, so it's obviously still healing underneath, because it's a sensitive area around your eye. My eyelid is still swollen. I can feel it flopping down over the top of my eye. So, you know, at some point the swelling will go down and it'll be fine. Opening Himi Gouache is a tense experience. It is. It really is. There has to be a better way of doing it. I mean, why can't they make it... Do you remember those little paint by numbers kits we used to have as kids? Oh, you might not be as old as me. But we used to have paint by numbers kits, and they came in these little round pots that had seals that you pulled off, and then you could open and reclose them. They should put them in that, seriously. It would make so much more sense. Anyway, let's get this road on the show. I had another set of this from RTX, whatever they're called. But it was nice and I loved the colours, which is why I chose it. But it went mouldy real quick, so that had to go. You're 36. Yeah, you're not as old as me. I'm hurtling towards the mid-50s. My birthday on the 29th. We shall hurtle some more. Yeah, I do like these gouache, but they're a bit tricky to work with. I can't quite work out how much water to add to them. That's where I'm coming unstuck, because I'm used to using the Winsor & Newton ones, which you don't really need water, you just use a damp brush. These need a bit more oomph. But a couple of these could do with a little bit of water. Your body cracks like a glow stick every morning. Oh, that happens the minute you hit 35. By the time you hit 50, you're at the point where you wish your body cracked like a glow stick every morning, because it would be so much more comfortable. Morning, Susan. Okay. I don't want to put it on there because apparently that's stayed wet. Everything on my palette has stayed wet, which is interesting. Maybe I'll use that palette instead of this one. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll use the palette that comes with the set. How about that? There's an idea. Okay. Right, so wait until you reach the 60s. I'm nearly there, okay? I'm not that far off, all right? Right, this is what we're working with. Oh, I didn't bring my iPad over. Hold that thought for 1 second. I just need to grab my iPad. What's happened to the music again? Music is being weird this morning, I don't know. 1 second. Let me grab my iPad. Here we go. Oops. Yeah, don't get your feet caught on things. That's not a good idea. Okay. Let's find our reference photo. Oh, did I download it? I might have downloaded it. Let me see. I did download it. There we go. So this is the reference photo. Sorry, I'm just looking at it on screen because looking at it here to here, it's difficult to see. It's difficult to see what you're looking at. It's difficult to see past the. It's not the right word, but for want of a better word, mistakes. The roughness, let's call it that, the roughness, the raw painting of it. It's difficult to see past that to what's really there. So it's easier to look at it on a screen, which is why I usually take a photo of it so that I can see what's going on. It's not too bad. We're getting there. It needs lightening up. I deliberately made the foxes much brighter in colour because I was going to give them a little bit of snow on their heads because they're sitting in the snow. They're sleeping under a pile of branches in the snow. So I thought I would give them some little bit of sprinkling of snow on their heads. But in the process of turning our spare room into an art room or office thanks to your inspiration. Ooh, nice. Okay, let's lock this so it stops doing stupid things. Why are you asking me for a new password? Weird. Okay. For anyone with an iPad who wants to know, what I did was turn on guided access. It's in accessibility, and it means that now the thing is locked. So it won't keep turning itself off and things. Okay, now what I need to do is just prop this up with something to get rid of the glare. Okay, why are you... It's not supposed to do that, but it's doing that anyway. Okay, strange. There we go, that's better. And I've already put down a layer of... I like to put a layer down first of just the base layer of colour, so I know where the light bits and dark bits and stuff are. He needs lightening considerably. But this is what it looks like when you're used to working with things really well, and you know how to paint with something, and then all of a sudden you don't use it for absolutely ages. And I can paint with gouache, I promise. I can paint with gouache. That's watercolour. got any gouache in here? Yeah, I have got gouache in here. I have. Towards the back, I think, is where I started using gouache in this one. Let's see. That's gouache. That's gouache. See, I can actually do it. It's just that these are like from over a year ago. That's gouache. So is that. So is that. We can paint with gouache. And that was as much for my benefit as yours, because right now I don't feel like I've ever used gouache before in my life. That's how it feels. But the only way to get back on the horse is to, get back on the horse. You can't just sit there being frightened of it. And the same for beginners. You can't just sit there going, well, I've never done this before, so I'm not going to be any good at it, so I'm scared to start. Of course you're not going to be any good at it if you've never done it before. But, if I can, as a professional artist, if I can suddenly lose skills that I haven't used for a while, then so can you. Right. Let's spray these on the palette, because these are actually the right colours. So let's just revise those a little bit. These are only washes. They're not thick. But I do want to add a few bits of darker bits down here. Because he's very shadowed on this side. There's lots of different ways of working with gouache. A lot of people like to work with it in very opaque layers. That's what it's for, working in very opaque flat layers. I quite like to work with it in like a watercolour initially, and then go back in with thicker layers over the top. So for instance, he's got some shading around this bit here, and that edge there needs blending out a little bit. The thing with gouache is that it reconstitutes. Is that the word? Like you can see as I'm working with it, this colour is, as you agitate the colour, it starts to lift and re-wets itself, and you can change. So, oh dear, I made a mistake there. That's fine. You can just go over it like that, and oh look, it's gone. So it has its good and bad properties. It is tricky to work with because of that, but we'll give it a try. So if I remember correctly, I used the bright yellow with some of that reddish brown. I was also using a different palette the other day, which really caused a few problems, in all honesty. I used a palette with deep dishes because I wanted to do washes initially, and then I continued using the same palette, and I found that made it very difficult to work with the paint. I need my white. You use a lot of white with gouache, so I just buy these big tubes of Pebeo, which are really cheap. It's not the same gouache, it's not jelly gouache, but for mixing it doesn't really matter. I've got the proper white there, but I haven't even opened it yet. But that's titanium white, it's not a mixing white. It's the kind of white you go over the top with really bright details. But this is fine for... mixing the colours. There we go, that's quite good colour. Let's start there, shall we? I'm not trying to recreate the painting, by the way. I know a lot of people do this and they're like, produce a perfect rendition of the exact picture that they're copying, which is fine. No shame in that. I admire the skill, honestly. But I don't want to create an exact replica. If I wanted an exact replica, I'd just print the photo and stick it in my journal. I don't want that. I want to put my own interpretation, my own brush strokes, if you like. It's like the difference between printing a story out and, you know, because you like the story, and sticking it in your journal, or rewriting the story yourself. And I don't mean like a proper book. I mean like a fairy tale or something. You don't need to use the original version. You can write your own version if you want to. Put your own spin on it. Write a modern version or whatever. You know. I'm wittering now. Shut up. The squirrels are coming home. I already feel like this fox is working better than the previous one. This one is a bit... I don't know what it is, honestly. It's just a bit, to be honest. One thing I did learn the other day, here's a tip. When you're doing this kind of floofy fur effect, right? When you're using watercolour, you flick it like that to get the pointed ends. With gouache, you're better off doing it this way. And using the brush to get the pointed end. Strange, huh? Morning, Tyler. This is a much better colour than that. Much happier with this little guy already. Top one looks a bit peeved. Cute but peeved. Yeah, he does. There's something weird about his eyes. His eyes are too scrunched up. Yeah, the white's a lot easier to work with. So yeah, the jelly gouache is a different animal altogether. I'm not supposed to be working on this guy, but I've got a lot of white on my brush and he needs some white. So we're putting white on him. There we go. Yeah, well, I haven't done the white bit yet. Literally not done the white bit yet. This isn't finished. This is just I wanted to finish it on Patreon. This is the one I started on Patreon. He's only about halfway through. He's nowhere near finished. But I wanted to get this one in so I could do the practice and then finish this one on Patreon. And I'm already liking this one better. So just in that one session, I've already worked better with figuring out the colours and just getting it to work in general. Just looks better. He looks floofy instead of spiky. Although this is the top of his head and this is his butt, and his butt is a lot floofier than the head. So there's that. Yeah, that would explain why there's less white there, because I haven't done the white yet. Exactly. The white goes on last. Light with gouache, I tend to work dark to light. But this area is going to have white areas, so I'm starting with like a creamy colour and then moving up into an off-white, and then the stark white will go over the top. But this is already working much better. So just that 2-hour session the other day of playing around with this and getting really frustrated with it has already taught me this much. That's the muscle memory coming back. I am struggling with the texture of these paints. But it's a new paint. Of course I'm going to struggle with the texture of it. I struggled with acrylic gouache when I first started using it. I struggled with watercolour when I first started using it. You know, you struggle with everything. I struggled swapping from Faber-Castells to from Prismacolors to Faber-Castells when I started doing that, colour pencil. So, you know, different mediums, always a bit of a struggle. What I'm saying is, if you've never used it before, don't expect it to be brilliant the first time you use it. This is living proof. Just because you can paint doesn't mean you can do it with everything. You have to learn the medium as well. Okay. I'm going to use some more of this gingery white colour. Which I'm probably going to have to mix some more in a minute, but in fact, let's do that now because I think I'll probably need a bit more of this. I'm painting this over a gingery area already, a dark gingery area. So instead of adding the gingery to the paint, I'm just painting over what's already there, which will reconstitute the paint underneath. And then mix it with the same colour. I have to say it's a lot harder to paint in layers with this paint. It reconstitutes very, very quickly. Which is good for when you're working with it in a palette and everything else, but when you're trying to layer it, it makes it a little tricky. Add some blue into this for these shadowy areas. Seen a bright green Range Rover that looks like a Playmobil car. Oh no. I mean, at least it's not a Cybertruck. Hey, John. I'm going to have to put some cream on my hand. Where's my... Oh, I haven't got it over here. Just going to have to wait. Just have to work on with it. I'm sure at some point I'll have to get up and let you know who out, so... I think I want to get the dark onto his nose. And then when I've got it, let's do this one as well. Of course, I'm completely forgetting that this gouache reconstitutes really easily, as I literally just said about 5 minutes ago. So I don't actually need to use up the paint. I could just leave it on the palette, re-wet it later. However, it's on my brush, so if it's on my brush, then I'm going to use it. Okay, how are we looking? Yeah, the bottom one's so much better. Oh dear. And anyone who was there on Saturday tell me how much I struggled with that damn fox. This one, it's just working. What can I say? It's just doing what it's supposed to do. Oh, she's awake. So I'm using a really dry brush here because I want to get that kind of fuzzy texture. I just realised I use acrylic. I use gouache the way I use acrylic. I wonder if that's because I've been using acrylic gouache, which is basically the same animal as the acrylic paint I use. Because I use chalk acrylics, I don't use plastic-based acrylics. It's a good question. Maddie, what are you doing? There's some really disgusting noises coming from over there. What are you at? A nice light grey here that I think will work under here. It's not thick enough. Hey! What? You want to go out? Maddie needs to pee. You're going to have to wait. Yeah, Maddie needs to pee. 1 second, love. I'm coming. Just 1 second. No, just while I've got this on my brush. 1 second. You can hold 1 second. You can. I know you can. Good girl. Okay. Pee break. Back in a second. Come on then. Maddie. Okay, she's done. Gone back to bed. Got a creaky tendon in my thumb, but arnica helps. Okay. Yeah. The second fox looks so much better. I think I'm going to end up going over the top fox with a bit more white to tone his colour down. Make him match the other one, because this looks so much better. So what's everybody up to this morning? What are we all doing? Ink's rearranging their spare room into an office come studio, creative space. Speaking of creative spaces, we'll be doing the Spring Cleaning Chronicles again this year. We haven't done it for about, well, I think before the plague happened. I can't remember what year it was, 2018, 2019? I don't know. But yeah, I think it's time for another deep clean of this creative space. So going to be working on that in March. Mini class will be up. Well, not up. The class will run in March. But it will be available with information beginning of February sometime. Just got back from errands. Going to do some tidying up at home. Fun. Having coffee and toast. Oof. Try to stay warm because it's minus 15. John! Is that wind chill? Because you're in the Oklahoma on the plains, aren't you? Is that wind chill factor? Like, it's really like minus 8, but it feels like it's minus 15. Or is it minus 15 and it feels like it's minus 35? Not 2018, because you were already in this flat and you moved in August that year. Oh. 2019 then. It definitely wasn't 2020. That much I know. Because I had the car. Because I was taking my bin bags up to the tip. So it must have been 2019 then. But we've done it twice. We did kind of a mini one. So. Still. Minus 15 feels like minus 23. Oh no! Oh no! That is not funny. That is anything but funny. Yeah, I was thinking the first one. Because the first one was a proper one. And then the second one was kind of a mini version. But we're going to do a proper version again this time. With all the journaling and accountability and everything. Horrible winter this year. Yeah, it's been pretty gross here too. Not that bad, but we had a lot of snow. Which is fairly unusual for us. We don't normally get snow until the end of January. It usually snows on my birthday. In fact, last year it was already snowing on my birthday. The year before, in fact, 3 years in a row, it was perfectly fine in the morning. It was a perfectly normal, ordinary day where it just looked like it was going to rain. And by 1 o'clock, there was a blizzard. Similar thing happened, I think, 2015. Totally ordinary day. I went out for dinner with my partner at the time. It was perfectly ordinary. It was a nice evening, actually. We walked down to the restaurant. By the time we came out 2.5 hours later, there was about this much snow. And it took us over an hour to get a damn taxi. Because nobody had been expecting it. I was expecting it. I said all day, it's going to snow. It's my birthday, it's going to snow. Everybody's like, nah, it's too warm to snow. Never fails me. Never fails. You've had a whole 2 hours of snow down south this winter. Oh, we had like 3.5 weeks of it. But it never got above freezing, so it was like it would snow and then it would freeze. And then it would snow, and then it would freeze, and then it would snow, and then it would freeze. And you just had all these layers of ice going like this. Like, no, I'm not leaving the house. I will stay here. Thank you very much. Oops. Let's do his little tootsies down here, shall we? Ooh, that's a good colour for that patch there. Actually, now I come to think about it, it would seem that I use the same technique for all of my painting, except, well, watercolour I do a lot of layers, but then I go over it with pencil. It's a much more mixed media thing. But the way I paint with acrylic and gouache and oils is all very similar. Interesting. There's probably some people somewhere that are horrified by that. I'm like, you paint the same way with all of them? Yeah, definitely a lot happier with the bottom fox than I am with the top one. Hey, cute. I need to strengthen up this shadow of the line of the tree. Yeah. All that practice of putting on black eyeliner in the 80s and 90s really paid off. Morning, Maria. I'm going to break in a cup of tea. I found 27 unused notebooks. Ooh, nice. Ashamed? Oh no, that's 27 notebooks of potential. That's 27 potentials. Yep, no, that's right, Tyler. No shame unless they stay unused forever. They're just adventures you haven't started yet. Oh, Tyler. Tyler! A blank notebook is an adventure you haven't started yet. I love that. They'll definitely be used I'm a bit sad I don't have any excuses to buy a nice new notebook. Well, you've got nice new notebooks. Shop your stash. Set yourself up a little area of new and unused. And anytime you feel the need to go shopping, go and treat yourself to something from the shelf. Yeah, that's one of the things that we did in the whimsical workspaces. That's what we called it, the Spring Cleaning Chronicles. That was one of the things we did, was set up a little box or shelf or something. A shelf's better because then it's not out of sight, out of mind. Set up a little shelf of new and unused. And include things like supplies that you've opened and you've tried once or twice but you never really used them again since. Include all that sort of stuff in it as well. And then you get to go and try new things. Oh, I'm bored with all the things I have. I want to start a new notebook, but I feel guilty for buying one. Oh, wait a minute, I've got 27 on my shelf. I have no reason not to start a new notebook. Right? Blame your ADHD, buy things and instantly lose them. Ah, well. Yes. Tell me about it. Okay, I'm really happy with this other fox. I think he's looking really good. I want to add a little bit more yellow. Well, yellowy ginger. See, this is the colour that I used for the other fox, and what I should have done was added more white to it. Has anyone heard of the bullet journal method? We are bullet journalers for years and years and years. If you search back on my channel, you'll find that I started using the bullet journal method years and years and years ago. It is very good if you simplify it. And you have to sort of try it for a while before you figure out what works for you and what doesn't. Like, you're a list maker, so it probably will work for you, but you'll probably have to change the key, because all the different key strokes he's got for what they mean is too... I find it too confusing. I have like 3 or 4 different things that I do. And instead of having like a just one bullet journal, I have my planner where I organise things, and this is essentially my bullet journal. Don't watch all the artsy fartsy videos, no. Stick with Ryder Carroll's own videos. I have a lot of videos on just using the bullet journal method itself. Not making it all artsy fartsy. Just, like, my bullet journal was literally just writing. And occasionally I'd stick a sticker in it if I felt like it. It is good, but you have to stick to it and you have to review it. That's the key. I found the thing that makes it work is reviewing it, not how you do it or what it looks like or anything else or how many different key symbols you have. Use that as a jumping off point, but review it regularly. So I don't just write things down in here all the time. Every night I will go through this and put things into the appropriate place. And I will cross them off, or I will move them, or I will put them in my planner, or make a note of them in my journal. I've started using the Day One app, so that anything I note in here that is for like daily journaling, I pop it in the Day One app. And then when I come to catch up on my actual journal, when I've got time and I want to sit and just play, I've got all my days. And I know what I did each day, and I've got photos there ready to print and everything. And then this is my catch-all. This is essentially my bullet journal. I use the list view. Yeah, but his list view is not for appointments. If you watch his interviews, not just the book, but you watch his interviews, his standard calendar for organising appointments and things is digital. He does it on his phone. His standard calendar for appointments and day-to-day stuff, that is all on his phone, because that gives him reminders. The monthly view is just for, it's almost like a one-line-a-day thing, just to remind yourself what you did. It's not for the detail. The monthly view list is so that you can look at it and go, oh, that's when I went. When did I go to the cinema? Oh, the 3rd. You don't need to know the details of what you did or where. That's all in the other pages. But the list itself is just key things that day. That was the day I had the meeting with such and such. That was the day I went and had my nails done last. That was the day I had a haircut. That was the day I changed the battery in the car. That kind of thing. That's what the list view is for. So that you've got a very quick overview of the month. It's not for organising. It's just for recording the days. It's literally, that's why he calls it the monthly log. It's just a log of what happened on each day without the detail. The key thing for that day. And also he will put in things in advance, like, you know, if he needs to call his mother on the 21st because it's her birthday, he'll put mum's birthday, call. on that list, so it's right there in front of him. But he puts the appointment for what time and when and how long he's going to be on the phone for. He's going to allocate that time in his actual digital calendar, so that a alarm goes off an hour before and reminds him, you've got to call your mum in an hour. Which is exactly what I do. Anything that I need to be alerted to. Oh, I've got an appointment tomorrow and I've got to actually leave the house. That means ADHD backlogging. Neurodivergent backlogging. It's not just ADHD. Neurodivergent backlogging. I have an appointment at 1 o'clock. It's going to take me half an hour to get there. So the taxi needs to get here half an hour before, plus 5 minutes in case there's traffic. Plus 10 just to be on the safe side. Which means I need to be ready 15 minutes before that. Otherwise I'll be leaving the house in a hurry. Just in case I've forgotten something. Which means I need to be ready and dressed and drinking my last bit of coffee and going to the loo half an hour before that. Which means I have to have an hour to get ready. Which means I need to, bare minimum, get up at. In order to get 8 hours sleep, I need to therefore go to bed at. Which means, and you back thing it until your reminder happens when you are relaxed, sitting on the sofa, maybe catching up on your thing, and your alarm will go off and go, don't forget, you have to go to bed by 10 o'clock tonight, because if you don't, you're not going to have time to get ready in the morning. You're like, oh, right, okay, so it's 8 now, I've got time to watch 1 episode, and then I'll go to bed and read for a bit. So I'm already in bed by the time my alarm tells me I have to go to bed. Tell me I'm not the only person who does that. Come on. I know I'm not the only person who does that. I work everything backwards from the time I have to get there. I can't just go, my brain can't just go, oh, I have to get up early in the morning, so I need to go to bed early tonight. And then magically I go to bed at like 10 o'clock. That's not going to happen unless my phone goes, don't forget you've got like an hour and a half and then you have to go to bed. I tell you, I was so much more organised when my mum was hovering around going, you've got that thing tomorrow at such and such, so in order to get a good night's sleep, you're going to have to go to bed by at least 9:30. My phone is now my mum. Then the alarm goes off in the morning and you think, oh, it's my day off, why am I awake, and go back to sleep. Yes. Unless a second alarm goes off 5 minutes later before you have a chance to go back to sleep, and your phone, which makes you curious, so you pick up your phone, and right in the middle of your screen is a reminder, get your ass out of bed, you've got an appointment in 3 hours. Yes. Yes. You are not alone. Half asleep, you doesn't remember anything that's happening. Yeah, my alarm went off this morning. I don't remember it going off. But I have several alarms set. I've got my... If you're awake, if this goes off and you feel okay, and you have to get up and, go to the bathroom and let the dog out, and you really feel like coffee because you're actually quite awake, you might as well get up now. If you need a little bit longer, then you can it's okay. Just go back to sleep because there's another one going off in an hour. And then the proper time of getting up will go off. And if I have to get up at that time, another one will go off 5 minutes later, and another one will go off 5 minutes after that, and another one will go off 5 minutes after that. Otherwise, I will just sleep. It takes me forever to get to sleep, but once I'm asleep, I'm not waking up. Your alarm is your mum. She lives 50 miles apart. She still calls to make sure I'm up and awake. My mum calls me at like 9 o'clock in the morning and then says things like, oh, I didn't think you'd be awake yet. Well, I bloody am now, aren't I? My parents do call me first thing in the morning, but my phone is on silent and do not disturb, and everything is switched off. Yeah, that's why you set 3 alarms. Exactly. It's the way I look at it is if your alarm goes off and you immediately just turn it off and go back to sleep, then you haven't had enough sleep. So therefore, you mitigate it by, if you have to get up, you set more alarms. Morning, Cody. Very rarely, if I absolutely must get up, like I've got something that I absolutely cannot miss, like I'm got a train to catch or something like that, and I absolutely cannot miss it, then I will put my phone on the other side of the room. And I will link it to Alexa. She didn't hear me. Whew. Usually she goes, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. We call her Charlie. I will link it to Charlie. So that the phone goes on extra loud. Your mum's one of those annoying people. It doesn't matter what time she has to be up, she's awake. My mum's awake at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't matter what time she went to bed, she's awake at 5. My dad's the same. Doesn't matter what time he went to bed, he's awake at 7. Even an app that gives you times to wake up based on what time you're going to bed and sleep cycles, it's a definite improvement. Oh! Is that one where it tells you if you're a wolf or a bear or whatever? I'm a wolf. Go to bed late. Get as much sleep as you need. If it's 2 hours, it's 2 hours. If it's 12 hours, it's 12 hours. Only work to a schedule if you absolutely have to. Which is why we do 1 o'clock streams. I work on New York time. My body clock is set to New York time. Doesn't matter what time I go to bed, I will wake up around 11 o'clock. Which is 6 a.m. for most people, which is normal. Left your own devices, you go to bed between 2 and 3 and wake up at 10 or 11. Yeah, that's same. New York time. Well, for me it's New York time. Because I'm London. Well, no, you're UK as well, aren't you? So yeah, you're New York time as well. See, we're on New York time. That's just how we roll. I'm a night owl. Always been like that. Doesn't matter what time you go to bed, if you don't have an alarm, you'll sleep till 1 p.m. easily. Yeah, you just need a lot of sleep. Some people just need a lot of sleep. I actually don't need a lot of sleep. But I do sort of go through phases. At the moment, because I'm on a go slow and I'm hibernating and I'm not really doing a lot during the day, and it's cold and it's bleh, and it's not very bright, I am quite sleepy. But in the summer, I go to bed at 5 and I'll be awake again at like 9. Oh, you're in the Lake District. Oh, you're not that far away from me. I'm at the bottom of the Peak District. For those who don't know what we're talking about, Lake District, Peak District, Scotland, where I am. I'm at the top end of the Midlands. Hobbitshire. Okay, I need to do some more depth into this shadow here. So I'm going to use some dark blue and mix it with a bit of black to get this sort of Payne's grey colour. And then we'll drop in a little bit of white, which seems counterintuitive, but that's what makes it grey. See? Oh, you can't see. You literally can't see. Okay. There we go. Now you can see. So that will now be the shadow on the very bottom of the tree. That's better. Now we've got some contrast going on. You wish you didn't need a lot of sleep. Yeah, some people just do need a lot of sleep. I go through phases. At the moment, I need a lot of sleep. No, I can't work out where my colours are now because I moved my palette. Okay, I think I need to stop fussing with the one on the bottom now because I think he's as close to done as I'm going to get him. I'm really happy with this tree. I think I want to put some more white onto the top where the snow is to get some contrast between the bottom and the top. Does gouache work like watercolour or acrylic? Yes. You can do it as both. Literally what I was saying earlier, I do use it like watercolour. I also use it like acrylic. I also use it like oil. You can pretty much do whatever you want with it. I would say get yourself some watercolour paper and play. Try different things. Because you can water it down and get really light washes. Or you can go in thick and heavy and get textured. Don't get too textured with it because it'll flake off. But like this, I mean, I'm basically dry brushing this. I'm going in just with the paint and dry brushing it on. You can go back in and re-blend it, as you've seen, which is what you can do with oils, because oils don't dry. You've got a lot longer to blend with it. So yeah, just play with it. Because yes, it can work like all of them. You just have to, you know, get yourself in the mindset of, right, today I'm going to paint as if it's acrylic. But bear in mind that your bottom layer doesn't dry. So if you're going to paint like it's acrylic, which is kind of what I'm doing at the moment, you've got to use it very dry and you've got to not agitate the layers underneath. It's the martini of paint mediums. It is, really. Yeah, it is. I would say, honestly, having used it as different things and, you know, getting used to it now, as you can see, I'm getting much more used to how to use it. I would say the hardest transition is if you move from using gouache, like I'm used to using Winsor & Newton gouache, proper gouache. Moving to the jelly gouache is the hardest transition. If I think of it as if it's acrylic and use it without much water, it works great. If I use it as if it's oil and allow it to blend with the layers underneath, it works great. If I use it very thin and watery like watercolour, it works great. If I try and use it like I'm used to using gouache, it's a hot mess. But today I'm using it more like I would use acrylic or oils, and this is looking fabulous. I'm so happy with this. Okay, let's get some more texture into the bottom of that rear branch. It needs to have some dark texture over it, so I'm going to use some of the more of that. Oops. I'm going to use some more of that black. But I'm going to use it quite dry. So I pick up the paint and then I kind of just keep agitating it until it's not as wet, basically. And then I'll go in and do the thick bit where I need it. Where I need it to be quite a bit darker. Which is right behind where this snow is to make the contrast. And then I'll go back in and use the now much drier brush to blend it out. If my brush is still too wet, I'll turn it over and blot it at the root to take the water out of the paintbrush. And then I can go back in and dry brush like that. When I say I use it like oils, by the way, I use water mixable oils, just to clarify. So I literally do use oils like gouache. I'm allergic to linseed oil. Yay! So I can't have it mixed with. Well, I can't really touch it. I have to be careful about touching it, get it on my skin. But more importantly, I can't mix it with something like terps or whatever, and have the fumes of the oil where I can breathe it in, or the particles of the oil where I can breathe it in. So I use water-based oil. That way the oil stays in the paint and not in my lungs. Had it go and painting a white fox once. Well, the secret to painting anything white is to paint the bits that are not white. I once painted... Oh, I've got her over here, actually. Let me go and get her. Linseed gives you a migraine. Yeah, same. Same, Cody. And then I can't breathe. And then I get rashes and all sorts of nasty stuff. This one's been finished for years, but I liked her so much I wanted to kind of keep her for a bit. And I really am at the point where I ought to... Oh, she's got something stuck on her. What's that? I'll fix it later. I really ought to varnish her and put her in the shop. But this, when I did this, I painted it white. I painted it black. Well, almost black. I painted it Payne's grey first. It was this sort of colour. And then I went in with gradually lighter and lighter layers until I got the white of her fur coat. So happy with her hair. Did the same with her hair. Started with it very dark brown and got lighter and lighter as I went along. Absolutely love this piece. It's one of my favourites I've ever done. Really ought to scan her and get her in the print shop. In fact, maybe I'll do that today. Maybe I'll do that later. Get her scanned. I think she's got something stuck on her. I'll sort that out later. But yeah, see, I can paint. I can paint. I promise you, I can paint. I think I want to get some very dark accents on this little guy down here, just to get his... He's got like little whiskers and things, and a little bit of that going. Yeah, I want to get back into doing those kind of things. It's what I used to do on Twitch. I really enjoy doing it. I confirmed that to myself the other day, doing some art journaling. So I really want to get back into that kind of thing over on Twitch. And start actually selling them instead of just having a horde of them over here. I mean, I could have done this on a panel. The way it's going now, I could do it. I'm fairly confident I could knock this out in either acrylic or oils on a panel quite easily. My one problem is that I don't like doing things twice. So once I've painted it once and it's good and I'm happy with it, I don't really want to paint it again, which is always a little bit of an issue. I prefer to work intuitively. But that's what I want to get back into over on Twitch, my intuitive painting. I haven't done it for a long time, and I really want to start doing it again. Hi, Trouble. I think I need to stop fiddling with him now because I'm going to overwork him if I do any more. I need to put him away. So I'm going to call it a day on him. So much better than the other one. Ooh, I just want to get rid of that. Just that one little patch there. I think we can call that you missed a bit. Yeah, that's better. So, yeah, hopefully that's given beginners, or those of you who've not used something for a while, a bit of a boost. Because this is what I did with this paint on Saturday, which, I mean, it's pretty awful. It's not terrible, but it's not good. It's certainly not great. It's very... have you even painted before? Whereas this, I think he's cute. He's gorgeous. I'm struggling with his toes a little bit. I can't seem to get his toes the right shape. I think maybe his toes needed to be more that size instead of I think I made his toes too long, but who's going to know? Is anybody going to look at it and go, oh, his toes look a bit long for a fox? No. Okay, nobody's going to do that. They do stand out a little bit too much. I think I might have gone too dark with them, or I need to go darker with this. That's probably more likely. I need to go darker with this. But I'm going to let it sit until I want to come back and do some more of it. And just, you know, I'll come back to it and I'll be able to look at that and go, ooh, yeah, I see why that needs to be different. I might end up painting over it and starting again. It's happened before. I need to work some loose detail into these shadowed areas. You can see there's like very, very loose detail. Like looking through the branches towards where light is catching on the other side. There's a little bit of light in the back. That needs to be worked in. And then this tree branch on this side, which is a lot fuzzier. And because it's leaning the other way, it doesn't have any snow on it. So this will look a bit different to this. But I'm pretty happy with it. And then once I've finished all the gouache, what I'll do is I'll come down here and I'll use either a bit of gesso first and then a little bit of matte acrylic white, or I'll just really heavily layer on a couple of layers of my white gouache. Probably more efficient to use gesso first and then put some white gouache over it, or white acrylic, to get this line of the snow. Because that line of the snow is actually, it should actually be quite crisp, and you can see it's not crisp. But I've deliberately not worried about it because I can do that over the top later. But I'm much happier with this fox than the other fox. The other one looks okay, but he needs toning down. And I knew that the other day. I kept saying, Cody will tell you in class, I kept saying he's too bright. He needs toning down. I think what I forgot to do, oddly enough, is I forgot to mix white with my gouache. I think that's where I went wrong. He does look so fluffy and warm, doesn't he? He looks so cosy. Even with the snow, he looks really cosy. Yeah. I'm very happy with him so far. So let's take a pic for the gram and all that. Pic for thumbnail. Cozy little foxy. Let's take him a bit further out and crop him down. Cozy foxies. No, let's do him that way. There we go. More foxy faces. And one for the gram in square. There we go. You went in Saturday? Oh, I don't remember. I'm so used to you always being there. I just assumed you were. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Maybe doing some more of this. Maybe doing some journaling. I don't know. I've got a lot of journaling to catch up on, but that might be something that I'm better off doing not on stream. I don't know. I'll think of something. We'll think of something for tomorrow. But certainly. Okay, so where this big chunk of white is, that needs to go over here. Where there's a paint channel. There's a paintbrush channel. So that white, I'm gonna actually flatten it down a little bit so it doesn't break off. And then that can go over there like that. Yeah, I'm starting to like these Himi gouache. I wasn't liking them very much on Saturday, I can tell you. There was some swearing. But I'm liking it more now. And I'm definitely feeling the itch to paint more. I definitely want to start working on canvases again. Yes. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.